Ba-boom, we are back. Bleav in Vikings. We have training camp that occurs in 4 days. Rookies report on Sunday. Everybody else, veterans, coaches, the Tuesday thereafter. And we're going to go through some of the training camp stuff, some of the items we're looking forward to. But I know Sally hasn't joined yet, nor has she had a chance to watch the Netflix documentary. But Ron, I'm guessing you have, or at least watched some of it. You want to walk us through some of your knee-jerk reactions to that phenomenal series?
Yeah, no, I actually did. I finished it last night, so I thought it was well done on all accounts. To trace Mahomes, Cousins, and Mariota's season, kind of I don't know if it was intentional or it just worked out that way. Kind of three quarterbacks at three completely different stages. One obviously being arguably the best quarterback in the league. Another one who is a steady solid quarterback who's guaranteed to be a starter, but his future is kind of in up in the air. And then Mariota, who is kind of on that revitalize revitalization path. So it's kind of cool how that worked out. But I think, as from the Vikings standpoint, as a Vikings fan, I don't know how you can watch that and come away with it not having more respect for Kirk Cousins than you already do, because he just comes across such a likable guy. Um, he everything that we see him as on Sundays, and as this dad, as this very quirky nerdy guy, that's exactly what he is. He's a normal guy, just happens to be one of the top 32 quarterbacks in the world. So I mean, I thought it was great insight, just from the day-to-day aspect of it and how he balances personal life with football. And seeing him at Barnes and Nobles and like stuff like that is just, again, it's everything you think about him. That's what he is. So I thought it was well done, and I think it'll be worth a watch next in season two as well.
There's something so damn compelling about sports documentaries, and I think it's just along the lines with why I watch them in general. But anytime I turn on a 30 for 30 just for the heck of it, even if it's like cycling, I'm like, oh, boy, this is a good story here. And there's something majestic about how they tell the story. Bryant, did you get a chance to check out Quarterback on Netflix at all?
I didn't.
No, not
So
yet.
I'm listening to you guys, yeah, trying to fill me in on it.
Yeah, I think you would appreciate it. It pretty much just chronicles Mahomes, Cousins, and Mariota through one season, and as Ron described, the elite, the decent, and the kind of the backup who was getting a shot at QB1 in Atlanta. And yeah, it's 8 episodes, so I think especially playing for the Vikings for a decade, you would enjoy the Vikings aspect of it. It was pretty cool. You'll have to check it out.
Okay.
And Bryant, I was going to ask, because obviously I know you were a part of the 30 for 30 on the U, and those
Mhm.
documentaries, but the way those were laid out was a little different because obviously they weren't following you around as a
Right.
player and kind of going through it that way. But I'm assuming as you got into the NFL, like probably even in your Super Bowl run with the Ravens, where that probably was more, you probably had cameras out there that were documenting certain things, for whether it be for NFL films or something like that. But
Mhm.
what is it from a player standpoint, as whether you're looking back like you did with the U documentaries, looking back at how things were done versus as it's happening in the present, and trying to balance the work that you have to do on the field versus the show that is, like how do you balance that as a player?
The show that it is, it's a lot of B-roll that they just capture. So you just kind of move around into your everyday life, and they capture like a lot of behind the scenes things, and you're mic'd up. It's just more natural. It's more like a reality show. And then they sit down and interview. There is the interview segment of where you're being sit down and being interviewed and asked questions. So I don't feel like it's too much of a stress or a distraction.
How quickly do you forget that the cameras are there or that you're mic'd up? Like if you or a teammate was
Yeah, I
mic'd
feel
up
like
on a
everybody
Sunday.
forgets they're mic'd up sometimes, and they have to remind each
Okay.
other, or like, "Are you mic'd up?" Like, and that's even just on the sidelines of games, like, or you'll warn people and say, "Hey, I'm mic'd up," because you don't want anybody saying anything out of the way
Right,
because
right.
people are here. So yeah, you can forget sometimes you're mic'd up, and a lot of times you're on high alert when you're mic'd up. Depends on the person.
Okay.
My favorite part, and this is real in depth, Ron, about documentary was like a single revelation that in the playoff game, had they gone down and tied it, they would have went for the win. And what
Mhm.
a portly set of testicles you have to go for two to win a playoff game. I guess in the moment it wouldn't have surprised me, and I even contemplated it. I think I turned to my pal Yannick Eckert from Germany, who's sitting right next to me. I was like, God, if they score here, they're going to go for 2. And I think we just kind of went, nah, no, we're at home. You can go for it. But it
Well, I
seems like,
think that I was in the feeling that because I was at that game too, and I was like, you have to go for it. This defense can't stop them. Our defense couldn't stop them at all. So I'm like, you have to let our offense determine it. So to hear Kirk say that and give that definitive answer, you have to believe that that was being talked about by KOC and Kirk. So I like that. The fact that, you know what, we're not going to let a coin toss. We're not going to let our defense determine this at all. We're going to go and take it into our hands. So even like when it comes back to, in that where they showed that one play where it was the 3rd and 1 or even though the 4th and 1 on a quarterback sneak and they got it, but there was a false start. And so they were showing that they were going to be aggressive early on. But to kind of hear it like from, the man himself, that I guess it's good to look forward to in the coming years with KOC as the play caller.
yeah, it does. And it's so in Mike Zimmer's defense, down the stretch of his career, I'd say from 2019 until 2021, so 3 seasons, he did get more aggressive for his. He used to go for on 4th down. It's like a light bulb clicked sometime around 2019 where he's like, you know what, damn it, we're going to go for this more often.
Probably didn't trust the kicker either. So.
yeah, that helped. But I think with KOC, it doesn't have to be somebody yanking him aside saying, hey, we got to be more aggressive. I think because he's a quarterback, he just said, you know what, baby, we're just going to do this. So, yeah, for hopefully a decade or more to come, this will be the MO for Vikings football. All right, let's get into some training camp. We're still working on Sal Spice to join us. We shall see if that comes through. But, Ron, I will start with you. Not sure. Are you going to make it out to 1 or 2 sessions? Or
when does training camp start again?
For rookies on Sunday, for everybody else next Tuesday.
Oh, this Sunday coming up?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Some of the like the Jets and stuff like that, maybe was it Raiders? There's a couple teams that have already reported. And so, I think it's safe to say the off season is over and the dog
right, it is pretty much. It's over.
Yep. And so now that 6, 7, 8 months you've referred to in the past, Brian, is going to smack them right in the face.
Yep.
All right, Ron, are you going to a couple training camp sessions or not?
Nothing planned as of yet, but I guess as the schedule kind of gets closer and as leeway happens at work, if it works out timing wise, I'd love to make it out there because I haven't even been to the facilities as of yet. So are you planning on going? Because I mean, if you are, then I can always try to I live not too far from there, so
yeah, my son and I, it's my wife's birthday week and then her mom's coming to town, but I believe my son and I are going to get there for the first night practice, which is August 3rd. Those are, to me, always have the best environment. And plus I hate the hot. I've said that a couple times on this show. And so if I can get to the night practice, usually that one's a little tapered down and there's 2 of them this year. So that one tentatively, I got to book the tickets and confirm with my wife and her schedule. But yeah, I think we're going to try to make that one. All right, cool. We can probably coordinate that, but we got time. We're going to go for about 20 minutes, 25 minutes here the rest of the way. What's one of the things that you're most looking forward to seeing at training camp, whether it's a storyline or a player?
Honestly, I want to see how the defense, that the aggressive nature that it's supposed to be, or that, the Brian Flores types. I want to see how, regardless of the personnel that's out there, I just want to see schematically how it's going to fit. And especially seeing that against, our offense, because our offense is, one of the top in the league. Just, when you have Jefferson out there, adding Addison, KJ as the 3rd guy, TJ Hawkinson, they're going to be a problem for people. So to see our defense and just schematically how they would balance, the best wide receiver in the league and, an overall good offense, that'll be exciting to watch. And then the other part is just watching the young guys, the draft class from last year with Lewis Cine and Andrew Booth, Caleb Evans, and then the new guys this year and seeing how they make splash plays. I'd like to think that this is an opportunity for a lot of those young secondary guys, especially where there's outside of Byron Murphy, it's pretty open. And I'd like to think that they would take it upon themselves as a pride factor to, hey, I'm going to go out there and try to earn my spot. And I want to see, the cream rise to the top. I don't want it to be like, oh, this guy sucks, so we're going to find our new Duke Shelley because the top 3 guys aren't getting it done. We're going to find that next guy. I want to see someone come out and win a battle and not get a job because someone else lost it.
So I will piggyback on that right away. But first, a little NFC North news. Denzel Mims was traded to the Lions. My counterpart at Purple PTSD just text messaged me. So they get a playmaker over in Detroit. Hello, Sally. Welcome.
Sally.
Hi. Hi, how are you guys?
Not bad. We're crack-a-lacking already in the thick of the training camp talk. How's your last couple weeks been?
Good. I just was on the phone running my mouth, and then I looked at the clock and it was 8:38.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've had technical difficulties since then.
Oh,
So
it happens.
thanks for your patience.
No, it's all good.
My last few weeks, they've been good. I am back in school working on my bachelor's degree. And
Congrats.
summer semester ends tomorrow, so just been very, very busy.
And so busy that you couldn't watch Kirko's Big Knock documentary, correct?
Have not been able to watch it yet. No, I just have not had the time to watch any TV.
Oh, did you go to that premiere?
No.
No, I see.
I wanted to go, obviously, but it didn't even start until like 8:30.
Sure. All right.
So no one else wanted to go. You guys chat for a second. I can figure out my audio. It's my first time.
Absolutely. All right. So Ron talked about the defense and schematically how it kind of aligns with Brian Flores, looking for training camp storylines. And we're both going to try to possibly me about 90%, Rana maybe try to hit the first night session of training camp, which I Bleav is August 3rd. So to piggyback on that, Ron, I've been saying on multiple platforms what I'm most excited about in this training camp is to figure out if Andrew Booth and Lewis Cine are really going to arrive and be the players they were drafted to be. It's very important for the lifeblood of the 2023 defense, in my opinion, because if those guys are no good, it's like, all right, well, I guess Josh Metellus has to be the guy and a Caleb Evans or Jawan Williams has to step up. It'll just make life easy if the first rounder and second rounder from last year play like first rounders and second rounders on the whole. Secondarily, we're going to figure out if Kwesi Adofo-Mensah can draft worth a damn because they both were seemingly redshirted last year because of injuries. So if we get to training camp and preseason and we start hearing fodder about, well, he's probably not going to start. It's going to be Cameron Bynum. We're going to be like, what the hell? This guy's a first rounder. You could have had Kyle Hamilton. So I don't think it's going to trend that way. But the thing that I'll be watching with the most keen interest is how quickly, hopefully at all, Andrew Booth and Lewis Cine start to get a whiff of first team reps or at least snaps in general. Sally, is your audio figured out? Or are you still monkeying? Nope. All right. What about, let's see. I already know Brian's generalized feeling on training camp. It's not fun. I even asked him, I said, is there anything fun about it a couple weeks ago? And he said, nope. And I Bleav you said when the first preseason game rolls around, that's when it starts to feel actual fun again.
Yeah,
correct?
when you get a chance to go against other people besides the same guys you see day in and day out at training camp. So like, if they have a scrimmage against, or practice against another team, that's exciting because you got to get to take out like some of your skills and frustration on new energy and new people. That's fun. Like how Kansas City used to come to us. You kind of enjoy those days because it gave you just a chance to go against a different competition. And then when you get into preseason games, you're pretty much now kind of in the game week. So now you're actually going to start getting days off. So I look forward to that.
So now, obviously, Bryant, when you were here with the Vikings, we were down in Mankato and like obviously getting everything off-site going down there. And I think with Baltimore, you were near the facility, just not like your normal team facility. Is that correct?
Yeah, we're at the team facility.
Oh, you were? Okay. So then kind of like how like it is now with the Vikings at a TCO, is there like obviously I'm sure it's nice to just live your normal life, sleep in your own bed and roll into your normal work facility and then go to training camp. But were there any benefits, whether it be team building or just be able to isolate yourself and get away and actually focus on the job at hand? Like, is there one that either you liked better or you feel like you got more out of?
I will say being away is really about just you, your team, and the coaches because that's all you see day in and day out. Where when I was with Baltimore, you get to go home at night. So you get to go home at night, still be around your family. Um, I don't know how some guys felt about that, because you can have kids or people that keep you up late night during training camp, man. That can be a little tiring. Like, when you go home, by the time you finish training camp, you kind of just want to go to bed, but everybody's back there and hasn't seen you all day too. So I don't know, maybe in some situations it's beneficial to kind of be away and kind of reacclimate yourself to all the banging, on a gridiron. And then, after you get used to that feeling, being able to go back, home, and then you're used to it by then. So I think it has some kind of benefits.
Sally, I think you got your audio straightened out.
Hey, I'm back.
Wonderful.
I'm back.
All right, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, and I don't think you've changed this opinion, training camp is one of your favorite times of year, correct?
I do love training camp because it just gets you back in the spirit of football season. It'll be 2 days before I'm going to training camp, and I'll be like, oh God, we didn't have enough time away from this. This is too soon. And then I'll be there and I'm just like, oh my God, can't wait. Can't wait.
Amen. I asked Ron one of the big either storylines or players or something he's looking forward to, and he talked about the defense. I followed up talking about the hopeful emergence of Lewis Cine and Andrew Booth. What do you got for something that you're going to be watching with a careful eye?
Well, I agree with the defense as well. I mean, especially with the new helm as the defensive coordinator, it's going to be really interesting to start to see how that shapes. And I want to see what that secondary is going to look like. I think there's to watch that are going to be entertaining for those of us that do attend. And you love to see that competitiveness. But I don't know. I want to see what's going on with the offense too. The wide receivers should be putting on a show.
Amen, because we probably should have drafted a defensive player according to roster need, but they said to hell with that. We're going to replace Adam Thielen with a 21-year-old from USC and Jordan Addison. So I think generally, speaking for the Vikings community, for certain, we want to see if this usual good luck when Vikings draft wide receivers continues, because really the only notable strikeout we've had in the last 20 years was, Laquan Treadwell. Other than that, they usually find somebody like Diggs or Thielen rises the ranks. And of course, Jefferson. How on earth could you trade Stephon Diggs and just walk into Justin Jefferson? It continues to make me smile and never lament the Diggs trade. All right. What else you watching, Ron, for training camp?
So the other thing that I'm looking forward to is it feels like it's the first off season in a long time that we don't have to hear about installing a new offense or, like it's not like a new offensive coordinator, new coach, whatever. It's second year continuity. And that I think that comes with following up with the documentary with Kirk Cousins, there's that continuity where it took a few weeks for him to understand, where he even said it took time to digest the plays that were going on and the terminology, which that's another, that just a random, and I'm sure Bryant's familiar with just all the random phrases that you need to know. But I think this is really the first time in Kirk's career that he's going into year one into year two with the same offense or the same offensive scheme. And I think that is huge. I think there's so many benefits that a lot of quarterbacks around the league get just from that, having that knowledge, having that time to digest. You have 17 or 18 games under your belt playing in it. And really the only change to the offense, minus, I guess, Dalvin Cook not here, but Madison was on this team, it's Addison. That's the only one. And outside of that, all the starters are returning. So seeing that, getting Hawkinson a full off season with this offense, that to me is going to be intriguing to see too, because it should look like a well-oiled machine sooner than later. And if not, then I think that's where we can start to question some things. But I think it'll be a positive.
Bryant, how much does continuity matter, whether it is the coaching, the play calling, or in your case, having the same 5 guys up front on the offensive line? Is it a big damn deal?
It is, because you're already familiar. I mean, even when I was at the University of Miami, we didn't want a new head coach after Bush Davis left going into my senior year because we knew the continuity and everything. We understood everything, so we didn't want anything new changing and throwing us off. So the more you keep being able to just do the same thing over and over, you get better. You don't have to rethink or readjust any steps or nothing. So I feel like they should be better this year, like having the second year under their belt.
And to Ron's point, emphatically, that has been the slogan on offense, because the offensive line last year certainly wasn't horrid, which we had grown used to. But we got excited because it was decent, and it really wasn't good. But it wouldn't rank like 29th in the NFL. So we had a little mini parade for, hey, they're not horrible anymore. But the next step, especially with an offense first head coach, would be to get the offensive line to be actually really good. And I think their big step this year was to preach continuity, because they re-signed Garrett Bradbury. And I mean, that was kind of the big hinge, and they didn't do anything with Ingram. They left him in place. So they're going to have I Bleav it's the same 5 guys. Ron, correct me if I'm wrong. That'll start for the first time since Bryant played for the Vikings. I don't remember having the same 5 continuity during the Leslie Frazier era.
I don't think so, because the roulette wheel that was, TJ Clemmings, all these guys, Dakota Dozier at that time. Like, yeah, I can't recall it. At least we didn't have good enough guys that could do it. Maybe when Matt Khalil was here for a little bit, there might have been from left to right, but if anything, it wasn't, didn't look good.
Yeah, and I think most of this is a testament to nailing the corner, or the bookends, in Brian O'Neill from the 2018 NFL draft, and then our guy Christian Darrisaw. 2 of the best tackles in the sport. Bada bing, you've got those, and then you just kind of hope for the best in the middle of the line. It's a very weird dynamic that we're a little iffy about the offensive line, but we also employ 2 Pro Bowl, or soon-to-be Pro Bowl, tackles. That's very weird. We should just be like, oh, no, that's fine. But we still have that apprehension because of being burned over and over at guard in particular, and then in Garrett Bradbury's case, the first couple of years of his career. The next thing that I'm looking forward to at camp is to see how Ivan Pace Jr. and Andre Carter II, how they play, because we were told that the undrafted free agency was going to be, a fun circumstance because a few of these guys should have got drafted. And then the Vikings kind of stole the show, and they grabbed both of these guys at handsome price tags for UDFAs. And it seems like a foregone conclusion that these guys are good enough, based on the way the coaches have already talked, that they're going to make the 53-man roster. And so I want to know, inside the Flores defense, do they have enough oomph to actually get playing time? Or are they just going to kind of be like Luigi Villain last year, who hung out and didn't really play all that much until it was garbage time in the final season? Or, because the linebacking core isn't, crazy good. Kendricks is gone, so it's Jordan Hicks and Brian Asamoah. So there's a theory that Ivan Pace could get in the mix and do some damage. Sally, what else you got on your radar for training camp?
Sorry, I've been on mute because I have 2 scavengers behind me. Which is what happens when you didn't prepare to be on time to the show. I mean, honestly, I'm just excited to get back and to see everybody and be at TCO. You and I were texting about night practice earlier. I love Vizzy Happy Hour night practice. What is that, August 6th? Just the whole scene, and they always have so much fun stuff set up there. Not excited to see a couple people, but you know how that goes. The couple people I could wait a little bit longer to see. Take your guesses. But yeah, I don't know. Then we got preseason, and it's just right back to regular life then. So.
Generally speaking, training camp, preseason, and then springboard into the Buccaneers game. Are you stoked about, Kevin O'Connell's second year, or are you nervous that the Vegas forecasts are going to be right and it's some 8-9 bullshit?
Well, you know me, 8-9 is my worst fear. That's what I hate. It's what I hate more than anything, is the mediocre thing year after year after year. I think that that's probably a accurate prediction. If I had to guess. I think that obviously there are some games on there that are going to be difficult. I mean, Kansas City comes to mind. The Eagles come to mind. But there's difficult games every year, right? However, I don't buy it with everyone else that thinks this division is just crap. I think that the two of them, Bears and Lions, are trending upwards, and I think that the Packers are a huge unknown. Everyone wants to say that they're going to be absolutely terrible, and I don't think we have enough information to say that yet. So I don't think they can count on their divisional record being as good as it was last year, possibly.
So you don't really, in your bones right now, think they're going to win the division? You think it's an 8-9-ish season?
They better win the division. They better win the division. I think they will win the division, but I don't think they'll win a playoff game. I think it's gonna be the same thing.
Okay. So what will it take for you to get excited? Kind of like you started to get last year, like some real convincing wins, like, by 17 points. Because you felt this way last year too. You were happy. You were kind of like, man, they still got Kirk. We'll see how they do. And then they won 13 games.
We can't be greedy talking about 17-point wins. Okay, that doesn't happen. I'd be happy. I'm happy with like a 7-point win. It can even be a 6 or a 3, really.
Okay.
I just I don't really care about that. And it was such a fun season last year. Like, you looked at that team and you knew that wasn't a 13-4 team. I mean, yeah, on paper they were, but you knew the roster didn't reflect that, or, certainly the stats didn't reflect that. It was fun, but you knew the writing was on the wall. It would be a huge step up for them to win a playoff game. Absolutely. And I hope that they can.
Bryant, when you have taken a look at the Packers, Lions, or Bears, do you still think that this division is the Vikings to lose, or do you live in fear of one of those teams taking the crown away?
I think it's the Vikings to lose. I think the Vikings may be in the best position to win at those teams. I think the Detroit is still going upwards, though. Green Bay, I feel like the Green Bay has been at the helm for so long, and I don't see it for them this year. So I do think I think Detroit will try to make a run, but I think the Vikings still have it to lose.
I'm with Sally that the Packers are a total unknown, and I think she and I are two peas in a pod that we're not ready to write their obituary, because anytime we start to do that, some shit happens, and we're like, oh, it turns out this Jordan Love guy's actually good. Go figure. So I've been kind of trying to wrap my head around why in the odds makers have put them in third place, and some of
You're on mute.
Oh, there you go. Now we can. Nope.
No.
Yep. On mute.
No.
No.
Yeah. Did you get disconnected or something?
Oh,
there it
man, the
goes.
tech. Oh, there we go.
No,
Sorry.
that was totally on me. I hit the button on the little calibrator.
Oh,
So the last thing, we got about 5 minutes, Ron. Do you have any other training camp? Yeah.
Wait. While we're talking about Green Bay, I have an announcement that is not going to be officially announced until like 2 days, but I'm going to talk about it here. I am hosting a charter bus trip to Green Bay for the game versus the Vikings.
Really?
Yep, we're gonna have a party bus. Bring your own alcohol, bring your own drinks. It's gonna leave from Roseville. So anyone who wants to come, I have a 20% off coupon for you, and I will be posting the link. And it's gonna be super fun. We're gonna get there, tailgate, and bring your cheese grater. So.
And when was the last time you were at Green Bay, Sally?
I Bleav it was the tie game was that 2018 or 19?
Yeah, 2018. That was Kirk's first trip there as a Viking.
I Bleav that was
hot as hell.
Time. It was very hot. So this will be what, October 29th?
Yeah, so it'll be right in the middle of hot and cold.
Yep, it'll be that's my favorite time to go. So yeah, I'm working with Rally Bus, and it's going to be fun.
That is sweet.
Yeah. So Ron, you going to be there?
I will do my best to try. I'm assuming it goes for the game and then comes right back.
Yeah. Which it sucks that it's a noon game because we have to leave at like 6:30.
That's fine.
But
and then it's kind of the best of both worlds because you don't got to spend any unnecessary time in that hideous state.
Yeah, well, we can leave whenever we want because it's fully set up to use as like a tailgate area. But I'm like, nobody wants to leave at 4 a.m. So we get there at 10:30. That's good. Or so I can always switch it, but right now it's leaving at 6:30.
I may have to do that just because if it's a 1 day thing, like then because I'm not planning any away games this year because time constraints, vacation used. But if it's a day trip, and I've never been to Lambeau, so.
And based on the way that the schedule is constructed, that might be a must-win because you will have the Eagles, Chiefs, and Chargers in the rear view, I Bleav. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say they'll probably go 1-2 in those games if they're lucky. And so by the time you're going up against the Packers at Lambeau, it just adds more intensity on top of the rivalry intensity because again, go just pull up the schedule, the viewers and listeners. It's not fun in the first couple months. The weird part of the schedule is that the Buccaneers is, no matter how you dice it, they're not a shitty team, but is the easiest game on the schedule. And then you go try to find easy schedules the rest of the way, easy games, and it's like, all right, well, maybe the Bears won't be very good, or maybe the Falcons won't be very good, but those are all just hopeful maybes. Ron, in 90 seconds or less, got anything else you're looking forward to? Players, schematic, storylines?
I mean, nothing specific, I guess. It's just I just can't wait for football to be back. It's always the the most fun time of year. So really outside of the defense and the continuity on the offense, that's really the main things I'm looking for. And I just want to see splash plays, or like I want to see players make plays that are supposed to.
Yeah. The last thing that I'm looking for, I don't know if it's a lottery ticket. I want to see if Jaren Hall looks the part, because we're probably going to be chatting on this show in about 9-10 months, 8 or 9 months, about needing a new quarterback, assuming Sally's prediction comes true and they don't win a playoff game. I don't think there's any way in hell they'd sign up with Kirk again if they're playoff winless in this season. And we're going to need a quarterback, and it will help clear up the mystery a little bit if Hall just looks like a dude, like just average 5th rounder, or if he goes out in the preseason training camp and you start hearing the chirps about this guy's pretty damn good, because in theory he could be on deck to start. It's a long shot, but this is kind of like Kellen Mond all over again, perhaps a little bit more mature of a passer in Hall because he's 4 years older than Mond was coming out of the draft. But guys, that is our time limit. When we get back next Wednesday, we'll be talking about, a day or two of training camp. Any final thoughts from anyone?
Yes, I will be on time next week for sure. And I will be at training camp on Tuesday for sure.
All right,
so sweet. can get you a little recap.
All right, we're gonna count on it. All right, Bryant, Ron, we'll talk to you next Wednesday, and same for you, Sally, who will be on time. All right, later.
Bye, good to see you guys.
All right.